Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry the time lapse died last night. Got the door header on, so that's a 2x12 on the outside with the GRKs into the post, and then a 2x6 on the flat, a 2x12 on the inside, and then I put 3 2x6s going up, tying that end truss in, and that really sturdied it up. So I got that one done, and that one done. We got the doors bought, so just once the house is done, we're going to get matching wood grain doors, but we're not sure which wood grain we're going with. So we just bought these cheaper primed steel doors. So we're gonna paint them all black, and that way it matches the barn nice. Gonna try out the new Milwaukee 18 gauge narrow crown stapler. So this should make quick work of it. Alrighty, got all the west side soffit done. It goes 2 solids and then vented. The reason for that is way up top, we have a ridge cap. So air is gonna come in through here and up and carry the heat up and out the top and keep the attic space the same temperature as outside. That way we don't have any condensating, and it'll just make the steel last a lot longer, get rid of the humidity. It's just what you do. Alrighty, there we go. Hour and 11 minutes. We got the whole east side done. We got the top, the bottom, and one set of screws in the middle. That way it'll hold it from any wind. So when we get a free day, we can come and do the rest. So our top, we just kind of eyeballed with the center, and the rest of them, we have measurements so it avoids the plywood seams. And we just chalk this temporary chalk line on here. Comes right off, so a first rainstorm, it'll disappear. So they're in a nice, perfect straight line. Alrighty, I got all these trenches backfilled a little bit. I'm gonna put a little bit over it just by hand to make sure there was no big chunks in direct contact with the pipe. Now that we have everything set, we set this drain height too, so that there's no bellies in here, because this is schedule 30, so it's a lot more flimsy. But we got it set, and we got stakes to hold it, so it's exactly thirded and half on the barn. Now we can start running the skiddy and getting it a lot closer. Good morning, guys. Last night we didn't do much filming because it was dark out. We used the Bobcat headlights. But we got all the trenches compacted. I put a little bit of water in there to lock it down even better. So the goal for today is to get all the foam down, and we bought 2x6s that we're going to cut and put in between each post. So it will go here to there. That way the concrete doesn't encapsulate the post, and it will give us a little channel that we can put insulation down. So as you can see, we did our best when we poured the rat walls, but the foam kind of came in and heaved out a little bit here and there. So once we have this 2x6 here, I will be able to, I bought it's called a froth pack. It's basically a mini spray foam gun, and I'm gonna spray foam down here so this seals this all nice. we had an English cream golden retriever. It would appear we have a chocolate lab. All right, so we got the saw set up here. We're gonna adjust the bobcat height. I know we call it bobcat, that's just our name for it. It's a Kubota skid steer, but we're gonna lift the bucket up so it's a nice even surface so she can pull these heavy 2x6s. These are still pretty green and wet. So we'll pull it across here. I'll be running measurements in between each post. She can cut it and I can set it with the laser and screw it in between every single one of these columns. So got a lot to do. Let's get going. House and garages and barns, we like to put down 6 mil, we call it visqueen. It's just a plastic sheeting. The mil is the measure of thickness. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's not millimeters, but 6 mil is pretty standard for under a concrete slab. It's strong enough not to rip, but thin enough to still be affordable. This goes down on the floor and it goes underneath the foam, and we're going to wrap it up the 2x6 we just laid so that it wraps up on top of the wall. There we go, just like that. Oh, oh. There you go.
Where's my arms thing?
What? We went with Thermal Star. It's a cheaper than the Lowe's brand. But it's still a 25 PSI, which is what you want for underneath your concrete. And here's the chart for our value per inch. We are 25 PSI, and we'll just go with this. So at 2 inches, we are 8.4. And the Lowe's insulation that we put around the outside, the King Span or the Owens Corning, that stuff is rated at an R10, but it actually has a gas that breaks down over the first few years and brings you back down to about an R8.5. So it's essentially long-term the same exact stuff. It's just cheaper up front, and it's a lot easier to work with and cut. So we're gonna get this spread. We have quite a lot. I think it's 98 sheets. So get this spread, and then the foam will staple right into here, or the tubing will staple right into the foam. This insulation here, this is gonna be our bathroom, as we've already discussed. But I ran into the issue of once I put my walls, my sheathing inside for the walls, all of these areas are going to be pretty much uninsulatable. Is that a word?
Uninsulatable?
Yeah. Okay.
Uninsulated?
No. Uninsulatable. You can't insulate it. With the exception of spray foam, but we can't afford that. It's going to be like $10,000 just for the first 2 inches of the barn. So my idea was this 1.5 inch foam will go perfectly flush with this, and then the steel will pinch it. So we'll already start off with like a R7 on the outside, and then whatever bat we do on the inside, we'll just increase that. So it'll be a nice way to start the bathroom. Alrighty guys, welcome back. Sorry we didn't video any of this. We actually had a little bit of an emergency. I was in a rush one day and left before grading the approach here properly. So we had about 5.5 inches of rain, and it all ran in here underneath the foam, and all this foam floated up. The floor drains floated up, got underneath the plastic, on top of the plastic. So it was a giant mess. So we had to come here one night, rip up about 75% of the foam, 75% of the plastic, let it dry out overnight and over the next day, and then regrade it, compact it, put the foam back down. So last night we were in a mad dash to get all the foam down and the tubing stapled down. That way we can pour it tomorrow before we get another rain. I brought the machine today so that I can properly grade this. We left the side steel off, that way the trucks can stick their chutes just wherever we need them. Give us more options and we don't have to worry about splattering or anything like that. So this is what we did. It's pretty straightforward. What we did to get these nice and straight is measured at each end and the middles 1 foot and chalked a line. So then we just went along and you can kind of still see it. Put these down and they sell a stapler where you walk and you just push it. So it was went pretty fast once we got a system down. In-floor heat isn't that complicated. People like to overcomplicate it, but essentially what you have, there's something called different zones, but for a pole barn, we only needed one zone because we only care about, it's not really to keep that spot over there at 70 and here at 64. This is a pole barn, it's a shop, so not being that picky. So this will be more than good enough. So this is a 10 loop manifold, and essentially hot water will get pumped into one end through the 300-foot run that snakes back and forth, and then it returns back, not cold water, but not hot water, and it gets mixed back in and sent through continuously. So we kept all of the runs the same length, but a couple of the pieces we had to cut a little bit shorter. So that's what this, underneath these caps, you adjust this screw to adjust the flow to accommodate for those different length runs. So we capped it here. I stayed here till about 11. I cheaped out and bought this cheap test cap, which I would definitely not recommend in the future. So it leaked like crazy, and I had to spend about 2 hours coming up with a way to stop it leaking. Our system's fine. Everything was perfect, but the test cap was leaking like crazy. So I had to make a rubber gasket and get pipe dope and pipe tape, and it was quite the ordeal. But as you can see, it's still holding 35 psi after all night and all day. So we passed inspection, good to go. This here is just temporary. We did the math on the exact location of the wall so that this manifold, once we build this bathroom and mechanical room, we'll be able to just take these off, unbolt this, and then bolt it right back onto either the drywall or plywood, whatever we go with for the wall material. This here we had to dig in last night. This is for the well, so this goes down 4 feet under the ground. And then the well guys, we kind of left it open for them to make it easier. They're going to dig a trench from there to the well over there, and feed the tube up through the concrete, because once you get concrete, you do not want to have to drill through it. And these are rat walls, so you can't go through those either. So sorry we didn't film this. It honestly was half laziness, half being in a huge rush. So I feel like I explained it pretty well. Tomorrow's pour day, which is the main part of this barn that I've been looking forward to, because that's what I do for a living. So I know it, and I'm not worried because I know what I'm doing. So we have some extra help coming because this is a pretty big barn, and we'll get the floor poured. We're doing a 5-inch floor with fiber mesh, and we're going with the fiberglass rebar in the areas where it needs it the most. It's a newer product, and it's actually nice because typical metal rebar that you see, it rusts. So it's in your slab, and just condensation and moisture over the years rusts the rebar, and it will actually cause premature failure in your slab. So this fiberglass is obviously a plastic product, and it won't ever rust, and you're able to get a smaller diameter rod with the same exact strength of the steel. So it's super duper light to pick up. You can't bend them like steel, but this is just a barn, so we don't need any bends anyway. So the concrete company we use actually stocks them and delivers them. So on the first truck, we'll get the rebar that we're gonna have. Probably gonna put some on the door openings and along this middle area. We're so excited to get this concrete poured and be able to keep everything clean. It's just been a muddy mess the whole time. My Milwaukee tools are rusting. We got mud on every single thing around here. Tires are falling off because we can't fix anything in the mud. It's about time for some concrete. So we're excited to get this finally done. So we will see you guys bright and early for pouring some concrete. video this is going to be on, but I just wanted to touch base and do a few updates. But I just wanted to go over the slab a little bit because I didn't have much of a chance to talk about it the day of the pour. We put these 2x6s in between each post so that the slab's completely isolated and isn't encased around the posts. That way it's free to move. So we have a gap down in here that I bought a froth pack and spray foamed to seal the bottom skirt board to the 2-inch foam. You can kind of see it still right there. That's on the outside. So then when we go and put our bats of insulation, that bat will go all the way down and insulate the side of this slab. And yes, even concrete guys make mistakes pouring their own floors. Usually the plumber does this for us, so wasn't even thinking about it. We totally dumped this whole area, and as I was screeding across here, I remembered about it. So it's pretty haggard, but it's going underneath the bathtub, so you'll never see it. So we'll dig down right here. About 6 inches down is where the drain is. So we'll stub up here and connect to the shower. This is all level, so the shower will sit on its base around here, and no one will know the wiser. But just wanted to say that kind of is a humbling thing, that everyone makes mistakes, but you just got to fix them before the concrete sets up. It's day 6 after the concrete pour, so we got a majority of the strength. So I got the mower on there, gonna probably get the side-by-side on today. This is a 5-inch floor, so it's actually 156% the strength of a regular floor, and we usually recommend 1 week for driving a car, so 6 days is more than enough for a, I don't even know, 500-pound mower. So we're gonna get some Tyvek and doors and windows going today. It's kind of dreary out, but let's get to work. Those are some nice pants.